Let's get a reaction to this story now. I'm joined by alcohol harm reduction activist Maurice Smithers. Maurice, appreciate your time this afternoon. What is your reaction to the sentencing of the Enyobeni Tavern owners for selling alcohol to minors?
Thank you, Hugo. Well, I think we as alcohol harm reduction activists are also disappointed, along with the NPA and the parents, about the sentence, because we don't think that it sends a strong enough message to society about how problematic this issue is. As the parent just said in the clip that you showed, the issue of children being allowed into taverns in their area is still happening, and that certainly means that it's happening in other parts of the country as well. And unless there's a very, very strong signal sent out to say that this kind of thing won't be tolerated, it will actually continue.
Now, obviously, a signal is only going to be sent out when there's in situations such as the one that we've experienced, those young miners dying in very, very sadly in 2022. But let's talk about the policing aspect of it, because it's got to be a big part of it. One of the parents that we heard speaking moments ago said that it's still evidence, it's pretty rife in their community.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's a national problem around this issue, and that problem is to do, first of all, with the legislation. Actually, it's to do with the Constitution. I won't go into that, but it's actually to do with the Constitution, because the way in which responsibility for liquor-related matters is set out in the Constitution actually creates a problem for National, because National's ability to pass all-encompassing legislation around liquor is limited by the Constitution. But it's a problem of national legislation, it's a problem of provincial legislation, and it's a problem of enforcement by the police, by the liquor boards, and by municipalities. So one of the consequences of that is disempowerment of communities, because communities feel that there's nothing that can be done to protect themselves from alcohol-related harm. That's why somebody like the community member that you spoke to, the parent you spoke to just now, said these things are continuing. And in fact, when just after Enyobeni happened, it was said very clearly by community members, by parents, that they had long been complaining about this particular tavern and that nothing had been done about it. So you're absolutely right. Proper enforcement has to take place. And that's why we hope that in the inquest, when the inquest results come out, that they will point very, very strongly at all who are responsible, all culprits in this whole saga. Because if the inquest doesn't come out with a finding that points a way to a better way of doing things in the future, then I'm afraid incidents like Enyobeni are going to continue to happen.
Maurice, let's talk about this as we wrap. Is there a desire by tavern owners to abide by the laws, or is it profit over the law?
Well, you can't put all tavern owners into one basket. I remember a couple of years back interviewing somebody from the Gauteng Liquor Forum, and he said to me that he runs a tavern. He closes at 8 o'clock at night, and he doesn't let anybody in who's under the age of 30, because they're just going to come and cause problems. So there is a tavern owner who is very clear about his responsibilities, about his duties, about what it means to run a tavern in a way that is respectful to both his customers, but also to the community around them. But yes, of course, I mean, they're in business, just as the liquor industry is in business, and it isn't in their interest in some cases to abide by the law, whether it's around the age of drinking, or when a place closes, or when, whether they're abiding with health regulations. Clearly, if people are wanting to make money and they know that they can make more money by bending the law, they're going to do that. And that's why you have to have very clear, unequivocal, unambiguous legislation which makes it clear that you cannot break the law without suffering dire consequences of losing your license or going to jail. And then you also need to have proper law enforcement and a proper understanding of law enforcement of these issues. You know, my experience is that sometimes you'll speak to a police officer about the noise coming from a liquor outlet, and they will say, oh no, but it's okay because they can stay open till 2 o'clock. And you're talking to them at midnight, and they're blasting out noise that is, you know, clearly causing a problem for the community around them. And the police say, no, but it's okay because they can stay open until 2 o'clock. And then there are other police officers who themselves go drinking at these taverns and get free drinks, actually, to turn a blind eye. So, you know, we have to accept that, you know, the liquor's part of the fabric of our society, whether we like it or not. But it needs to be managed, it needs to be controlled. And you cannot leave that control to the tavern owners, to the liquor industry, because it's not in their interest to control it. Ultimately, you want them to develop the same kind of responsible attitude as the tavern owner that I mentioned before from the Gauteng Liquor Forum. Yeah. But we know that not everybody fits into that category, and therefore the law has to actually be strong enough and consistent enough to ensure that they do comply, because otherwise, as I said earlier, we will have more Enyobeni situations. We will, and not just Enyobeni situations, because actually, if you look in the newspaper, virtually every single weekend, there's a story about violence at one or other liquor outlet in the country.
Maurice, we've run short of time. We're going to have to leave the conversation there. Obviously, many moving parts I would have liked to have explored. That was alcohol harm reduction activist Maurice Smithers.